Well. And welcome to another day in the United States of unnecessary war plays and the pedo elites running things like the most elite pedo of them all, the pedo in chief, the big back monster objected to be the 34-time convicted felon fraudster and adjudicated rapist, honey. Oh, daddy dumpy. Pants, that is, because he's sitting in his own fucking piss and shit. But anyway, the protection's still on today for the pedo elite, not just the fatback, you see. Other men were involved in those crimes that occurred within those files. And in order to protect one pedo, all of the rest of them to get to walk free. And odd Todd at the DOJ, he's still up to that bullshit today. And now New Mexico is suing the pedo's DOJ for blocking the Epstein Ranch investigation. But this is what really gets me, dear. Odd Todd mustered up his caucasity to say the reason he wouldn't release the unredacted files to the judge in New Mexico is because he has a duty to protect the victims. This is the same guy who released the files and put all of the victims' information on display. Pictures of their whole entire bodies, including their face, their addresses, their phone numbers, all sorts of things. But now, today, he's worried about protecting the victims. And may I remind you, he's not being asked to release these files to the public. The only person in this case that will be allowed to see the unredacted files is the judge. Are you telling me, Odd Todd, that the judge is the danger here? Because that's what it sounds like. Yeah. So Odd Todd and Bondage Blondie, Satan Cindy Lou Who, they can release files with all the victims' information for the whole fucking nation and the whole globe to see, not take accountability for the mistake they made. And by the way, this mistake includes Jay Clayton, the dude who was just given the position at the National Intelligence Agency. You see, he was the AG in New York that was solely responsible for releasing some of the shit that included the names and pictures of the victims. This whole entire administration is absolutely guilty of breaking the law, firstly, dear. They're absolutely guilty of exposing the victims for the globe to see. And now they don't want to release to a judge because they want to protect the victims. Bitch, please. Look, we'll have to decide right now, collectively as a fucking nation. Is there a line in the sand today about rape or not? And is one man so fucking special that all other men that were involved in that sex trafficking ring get to walk free? No, he's not. Because that one man they're trying to protect today is already an adjudicated rapist. He is already a 34-time convicted felon. Red Hat, you're protecting a criminal so other criminals can walk free. Just let's think about what Max Miller said on TV. The reason he refuses to drop out of the race, even though it's not just allegations that have been made by his ex-wife, but by women in his past too. One, a teenage girl that he pushed down the fucking stairs. He said he's not dropping out of the race because just look at Donald Trump. In 2016, he admitted to grabbing women by the pussy, and he's still here. He outlived that scandal. He's a 34-time convicted felon. He's president today. Why should I drop out of the race? You see, the pedo-in-chief didn't just open the door for violent men to think it was okay. They kicked that motherfucker off of the hinges. And there has been a floodgate of violent men that have been allowed to represent the American people in Congress. A floodgate of violent men continuing to commit violence in the streets. There are consequences to propping up one rapist and racist. All of the other rapists and racists have been given permission to do the same. And that's the message that's being shown to little boys today, and little girls too. The president was supposed to represent what the American people were. An actual physical representation of America. Not just to other Americans to look up to, but for people across the globe. And the representation of America today is a con man, a felon, a rapist. That's America in a nutshell. And that's what we are now. Fuck this place until we bring back some real change.
Like these Republicans trying to commemorate Charlie Kirk, who was, by the way, a vicious racist and liar, who despised the actual teachings of Jesus and shit on the actual teachings of Jesus while bragging about his Christianity. And they're trying to put a statue in the Capitol to this racist. They want to have a commemorative coin for this racist high school dropout whose entire career was built around selling white supremacy to young people in college and in their 20s. What does this tell you, Tara, about how political figures become symbols, whether they're good or not?
Again, it's another it's just more proof that everything that Republicans stand on is, can I curse?
Please, it's encouraged.
Yeah,
yes, please.
It's bullshit. It's just absolute bullshit. Because as I wrote in my piece, when the Charlie Kirk memorials were put to the free market test, there was a humiliating response to it.
Let's talk about that. Yeah. This is brilliant. I mean, this is such an irony. You point out these guys worship the free market, and now they want our government to create a market for Charlie Kirk. Right? They don't want a free market. They want to force a market down there, right?
On taxpayer dimes, like you're saying, they're trying to mint 400,000 silver dollar coins with Charlie Kirk's face on it. I mean, what a disgrace! It's such a disgrace to the multiracial liberal democracy and we can go through all of his repugnant quotes.
The video I'm about to show you is the bare minimum of what needs to be done moving forward, but it's a sign of change to come. It's a sign that the tide is turning as over 100 Democrats voted to cut off U.S. military aid to Israel, although that vote isn't all what it seems.
Israel does not need, and quite honestly, does not deserve, more American money for weapons. Prime Minister Netanyahu has taken Israel down an ugly path. The tragedy of October 7th has become a justification for the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. Self-defense does not include indiscriminately bombing homes, hospitals, churches, schools, or refugee camps. There were even credible reports of children intentionally shot in the head and chest. For decades, our nation gave Israel billions to facilitate peace and a two-state solution. Instead, Israel has chosen more war and more occupation. Today, it occupies not only Gaza and the West Bank, but parts of Syria and Lebanon. If there are no consequences, why in the world would Benjamin Netanyahu change what he's doing? And words are not enough. Condemnations are not enough. If we hope to change Israel's behavior, we must use our leverage. The American people have seen this tragedy with their own eyes. They have made their judgment. They do not support giving Israel more weapons. Do not reward a wrongdoer. Now it's up to us in this chamber to take action. I support this amendment, and I yield back.
Now let me go a step further. Israel should pay the U.S. back with interest. We must also be skeptical of so-called progressives who use the one bad man theory to blame everything Israel does on individuals like Netanyahu, who himself says he's fine cutting off military aid to Israel because he knows that there's a plan to merge the US and Israeli militaries in the works. And if that were to pass, well, then he doesn't need any more military aid, and that's possibly why many Democrats were okay voting with this today.
Congressional stock trading is surging, and one member of Congress is saying the quiet part out loud, literally admitting that members of Congress are actively trading on insider information, and you need to hear this, spread the word. Here's Senator Mark Kelly.
There are members of Congress that are clearly trading on information they have. It's not like totally illegal, right? They're skirting around the law. But they have information. So it's sort of like insider trading. And it shouldn't be allowed. And members of Congress shouldn't benefit because they have this job.
Mind you, it's not just members of Congress. The President of the United States has traded more than 3,600 times on the stock market just this year. And new reports confirm that despite all this opposition to congressional stock trading is actually continuing to surge. Now, senators like Mark Kelly don't trade stock, but there are plenty of them that do. Let me know if you think they should be able to. Spread the word. Follow along for more.
Despite best efforts to block Todd Blanche's nomination to become the Attorney General of the United States, Senator Bill Cassidy of the state of Louisiana has decided that he doesn't have any scruples and he wants to cry crocodile tears as he votes yes for that nomination. Now, Cassidy was going to be the linchpin as to Blanche getting across the finish line here for that permanent gig. We were all looking at Cassidy, and he had all of this buildup, did he not? All of this drama surrounding his huge announcement that he was making from the Senate floor. And his statement, and parts of his statement spoke to, I don't know, being untethered from reality, because a lot of the stuff that he talked about in terms of weaponization of the DOJ and the president being able to do things unchecked, I'm sorry, but that's not reality. That's not democracy. And so once again, we see ballless wonders in Congress. This idea that they had Article I powers, but they're like, yeah, you know what? Just like John Cornyn said, we can't rein in the president. Now you have Bill Cassidy saying, we can't really do anything about this. And that's the reason why Todd Blanche is going to become the next Attorney General. I am beyond disappointed. When I say I wanted to throw my glasses, I wanted to throw my glasses at the screen when I was watching this happen, because I need to remind people, Bill Cassidy is a doctor. And if a doctor cannot have empathy and understanding as to the impact of the trauma at the hands of a monster like Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and others, when they have been abused, when they have been raped as children, when they have been trafficked to other perpetrators, when they have been manipulated and they have been treated and discarded like trash, how does a doctor not understand that trauma? How does a doctor not have empathy and sympathy for those victims and survivors? Because the way that Todd Blanche has not only managed the technical rollout and the redaction and withholding process of the Epstein files, the illegality surrounding his conduct vis-a-vis those Epstein files, and then his performative, disgusting disrespect shown for the Epstein survivors when Senator Tom Tillis told him, you must go and you must meet with those Epstein survivors. And like, yes, daddy, I'm on it. Todd Blanche runs, meets with them, and he's an asshole to these survivors and these advocates. And he tells them, hurry up and get to the point, to Danny Bensky. And he tells Sky and Amanda Roberts, the brother and sister-in-law of the late Virginia Giuffre, I haven't even read the files. How is that, in and of itself, not a disqualifying moment for Todd Blanche to become the Attorney General? And yet Bill Cassidy, physician, didn't even mention it, right? Doesn't even talk about it. It doesn't even register for him.
Administration stalled millions of dollars meant to prevent wildfires exactly like this one. I've spent the day in Spokane, Washington. I've been following along with a man whose family lost his home, and this is the neighborhood he's lived in his entire life. But then look at all the houses. The walls, gone for all these, and you just find everything is collapsed into the basement. Instead of seeing all the color in the neighborhood, you just see these various shades of gray and some ash, nails sticking out of the ground, but these are all people's lives. all their memories that have just descended into ash. So when it comes to the wildfire funding and all those issues, that goes back to a USDA memo signed back in December. That memo says grants can't go to programs that appear to support things like DEI or climate justice. But that creates a problem with Washington state law, specifically the HEAL Act, that says that environmental justice has to be a priority. And so that difference in wording caused a long legal battle. So the Washington state forester, who's in charge of managing the forest, told me he legally couldn't release almost $20 million meant for fire prevention efforts like controlled burns. That money got stalled from January to July, meaning the state spent 6 months pulling back on some of its crucial fire mitigation efforts. The USDA sent MS Now a statement defending the delays, saying technically it didn't deny any money that was allocated to groups. But when I talked to a former USDA official who led the Forest Service under Obama, he told me stalling that money is an expensive mistake that could cost people their homes or much worse.
Do you think that withholding that funding created more vulnerabilities that we're now seeing in Washington?
Taking that money away puts people's lives in danger. It puts firefighters in danger because it's harder to fight fires that are this intense. And then it puts houses and property in the line of fire as well. So it's enormously problematic. Most important things with wildfires isn't so much what we do during the fire, it's actually what we do before the fire.
So, what difference does a few months make? Experts tell me it's pretty important for fire mitigation efforts to be year-round. It can't just be done in the spring or in the winter before peak fire season, because with the way drought has progressed in many parts of the country, like the Pacific Northwest, losing any time early this year could create vulnerabilities not just for the summer, but also for years to come.
Now, MAGA, please don't scroll. I've got a moral compass and a soul. Let's talk about your constitutional rights, specifically your Second Amendment. I know MAGA people are seeing me for the first time are like, what, Second Amendment? Oh, you must be against it because you're not MAGA. False. I'm trained and proficient and perfectly equipped. And responsible owners support reform. Reform is not infringing upon. And MAGA will say, well, I'm MAGA and Trump supports my Second Amendment. Does he, though? Have you ever carried into one of his events before he was president? I doubt it. And Trump supports flock cameras and AI data centers. And look now what's happening in red states like Florida.
There are freaking flock cameras at the gun range. This is the entrance to the gun range. So they got you coming in. They also got you going out.
Now that footage was by an account named Pensacola Lawyer. I don't know his politics, I don't know him. But he went to a range and lo and behold found flock cameras cataloging who's coming in and going out.
So they have a record of people who are coming to the gun range and going to the gun range.
What, MAGA? You actually thought you were safe and not on Trump's list as well? I'm not a Dem, by the way. I'm an unaffiliated independent, so you can save all that lib this, leftist that, which aren't actually insults to begin with. But I don't participate in any kind of cult of personality because I'm an actual freethinker. This government is building lists of even their supporters because they do plan on trying to disarm the general public when Trump defies the Constitution and refuses to leave. The good bit of news is that action will be the definitive beginning of the end of the Trump regime. Because even MAGA people that are still licking his boots won't stand for that. So as Trump sycophants love to say, even though they have to check their piece at the door, come and take them. But get your house in order first, so others can raise your sons and daughters. Sincerely, an actual patriot that knows that Donald Trump, as common sense says, is a total and complete failure and the worst thing to ever happen to our country. Save for pardoning Confederate survivors. This next go-around, we won't make that same mistake again.
Embarrassment. I'm here with Robbie Roadsteamer.
Are you going to Trump's loser fair? Pedos, Hecksmith, Nazis will whine.
Let's go in and see how many tens of people are here today. They're not letting Robbie into the Great American State Fair. He's dressed as a bald eagle, and they won't let him in.
It's all just a hit song machine. All right, how far? Is it safe?
Good. You're not coming in.
Is this? Why not? I'm dressed as the American Eagle. This is America. Why can't I come in and sing hit songs? Parsley, pedos, Nazis will whine.
All right, I got in to the fair with a media pass. People are everywhere but here. Let me give you a shot. First of all, the Capitol's right here. Got a Ferris wheel behind me right here. And I gotta say, people are from all over the country are not coming here. I see a food tent. Let's go check out the food selection. We're inside the food tent where they have pretty standard fair food. It's Hibachi Express. You know, pretty standard food you find at fairs. One benefit is there's not long lines. In fact, there's not really lines at all. Holy dystopian nightmare. Look at this. They have a replica of Trump's Arc de Trump. This is a replica of the ark that he wants to build over on Memorial Bridge. Look at this catastrophe. Holy shit, stop the planet. I want off this ride. It's got, first of all, it's got two Nazi eagles on top of it. You're going to say, oh, the eagle. It's the American eagle. These are literally replicas of the Nazi golden eagles. Go look them up. And then there's like the Statue of Liberty with a fucking Captain America shield and wings. Holy fuck. They got all these rooms that are labeled by each state. Let me go find my state. All right, there she is. North Carolina. Let's go see what they've done to my home state. Okay, as soon as I walk in, they have a Bass Pro Shop race car. They got the lighthouse you'll find at the Outer Banks and the Biltmore Mansion. There's the Biltmore Estate and more NASCAR stuff. So apparently we're only known for NASCAR, I guess. I think North Carolina did a lot of stuff. Like the Wright brothers took their initial flight in North Carolina, but you know, NASCAR. I also think it's important to point out that this thing's taken up the entire National Mall. And there's really not a lot to do. They got a room for all the states. They got the Ferris wheel. They got some scheduled events that happen. That's it, dude. This is about as exciting as a fucking root canal, especially when it's 120 degrees out in this bitch. Stopped by the Massachusetts tent because they got chairs and it's AC inside. And they have a soldier from the Revolutionary War. I'm going to see if they're available for any upcoming services. Hey, I hear you do revolutions.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time, oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Looks like my green screen's all messed up. I don't know. Good morning, everybody. That's not the only thing messed up. Hey, thanks for being here. It's 11:34 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. And it's currently, what are we at, 107? Looks like 107 degrees. Yep. Supposed to get to, I think it's supposed to get to it just went up to 108 as I was talking. I think we're supposed to get up to 115 today. Out here on the the outer rim of Las Vegas, otherwise known as Boulder Highway. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. Thanks for all the sparklers that came over and checked out the intro. Now you're all going to leave, I know, but thanks for being here. I appreciate you. And for all my regular trucklers, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. I'm not able, again, the goal button is not presenting itself to me, but we do have an unofficial goal, I guess, invisible goal of 5 super chats, super stickers for today's show. I did see one popped in. I will get to it. And I appreciate. Well, let me. I'll scroll. Let me scroll back right now. I thought it would be David Weiss from Denver. Yippee! Thank you so much for that super chat. Starting us off on that. I fart in your general direction. $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I fart on you. I poop on you. But thanks for being here. I'm not able to scroll back to the top, but I did see that Paul Burrows was first in the chat. In fact, I even pinned it. So, which I've never done before. But I pinned it. So then, and here's what Paul Burrows said as he was waiting for the show to start earlier, before anyone was even in here. Paul Burrows says, these fucking politicians are not working for the American people. They're just lining their pockets with insider trading on both sides. Fucked up. It is fucked up, and I agree. It is fucked up. And there's a little section in the intro there, Paul. I hope you saw that. That Aaron Parnas played the clip with Mark. What's his face from Arizona? Good old Mark, the astronaut who's probably going to be the next president of the United States. He talked about it. So I hope you enjoyed that little section there, a little part of the clip that addresses what you were talking about. And yeah, it's fucked up. Members of Congress should not be allowed to trade individual stocks. There's just too much. Oh my goodness, Wes Webb. Am I received that right? 77. I never liked you nor any of you other trucksters. Well, yippee to Wes Webb. Thanks so much. Damon Dog, the big old dog. Damon Dog, the big old dog. Damon Dog, yippee. $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I think we're 3 out of 5 on the goals. And again, not to give short shrift to Wes there. Thank you so much. $77.77. Awesome. You must be in a good mood today. The meds must be kicking in, or the edibles or something. Thank you, Wes Webb. I appreciate you. And Damon Dog and David Weiss. Thank you so much. We're 3 out of 5 on the goals. We got 2 more to go. But yeah, as I was saying, members of Congress, because they are skirting the laws. There are laws against it, but they're getting around it. It should just be flat out. If you're a member of Congress, or if you're in the fucking White House, I think anywhere in the White House administration, even if you're the fucking chief of staff, if you're the fucking chick who changes his diapers, none of those people should be allowed, while they're doing those jobs, to do individual stocks. Plain and simple. It should just plain and simple law, and I think that would address a lot of this issue. Anyhow, let me go back. As far as I can go back is where Damon Dog, the big old dog, says, hey, Paul, buddy. Paul Burrows. So Damon Dog saying hi to Paul Burrows. Dave Weiss says she's fierce and adorable. I think you're talking about a cat or something. I don't know. I don't know. But that's that. We got Molly O here. Molly O is here. Molly Leo. And there's Wes Webb. Do you know who Jesus is? Fugo saying doesn't. Well, I don't know. He wrote a whole book on it. Have you read the book? I do suggest if you're going to buy the book, go over to Liberal Dan on YouTube. Search down in his information. I think he has a link where you can buy John Fugelsang's book, which is, I think, on the New York Sellers best-selling list, is selling like hotcakes. Get them while you still can, but go to Liberal Dan. I think he has a link where you can go to buy that book, and I think it helps Liberal Dan a little bit. I think he gets a couple pennies or something. I don't know. He gets a couple bucks maybe. I don't know. One of those deals. Because I think he has a code like some sort of a I don't know if it's not a discount code, but he has a link that goes to the Fugelsang. What's the name of his book? Church and Hate or something like that. State of Church and Hate or something. Actually, it'd be nice if I actually could remember shit. But yeah, so Wes, if you're going to buy the Fugelsang book, which I think you should probably read, go over to Liberal Dan's channel. You have to do it right this instant, but at your leisure, go over to Liberal Dan's channel and find the link for the Fugelsang book, something like Church and Hate, or Hate Church. I Hate Church. I'm going to write a book called I Hate Church, and I'm going to dedicate it to Wes Webb. There you go. How's that? Hey, like them apples. Anna Moore's here. Hey, Anna, good to see you. Brooklyn, SJU, aka Tracy LaRue. Formerly of Brooklyn. I don't believe she's in Brooklyn anymore. I think she moved out of Brooklyn. But she's somewhere back there in the New York area. Greater New York area. Winchester. I think it was Winchester. I think she's out in Winchester now. Beautiful part of the state there. Brooklyn. Hey, Brooklyn. There's Damon Dog. Susie Ann Jones is here. Hey, Susie. Good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. Thanks for popping on in. Let's see. We got Wes Webb. He uses Jesus to shame other humans. Jesus has had nothing to do with shame. I think. Okay, look. I haven't read the book, so I don't want to do too many critiques of it or whatever. But I think he's trying to point out the hypocrisy of some of these right-winger MAGA types that seem to want to wrap themselves in the flag and carry the Bible in one hand. They don't open the Bible and actually read it, but they will carry the Bible around, and they will wear crosses around their necks to indicate that they are a religious person, so therefore they are good and holy and just and all that. But there's a huge hypocrisy thing going on. And I think that's what the Fugelsang book is exposing. And I know people like you, Wes Webb, don't like to be exposed. That's all I'm saying. That's all I got to say about that. DPD 5844 is here. Thanks for being here, DPD. I do appreciate you. All the way from Ohio. Wes Webb says liberals are now the right wing. But that deserves a drum sting, because you surely are joking. I wish the right wing was liberal, or liberal was the right wing. I wish. Because the reality is the right wing is MAGA. And MAGA no good. MAGA no good. But MAGA is going to be going away as soon as that orange turd leaves. Now, let me just show you a couple things real quick. Been working on a couple of things for the merch. We got a new merch store. Let me know what you guys think of this. I designed this new patch logo type of a deal. I was thinking about putting that on hats and t-shirts and mugs, things of this nature. Let me know what you think of that. Now, I used to have sort of as my logo was kind of like my face. I don't know if I have that in my little gallery here, but it's in the intro. the orange background and like me help holding a coffee cup. There's that too. I don't know if I should just completely get rid of that. What do you guys think? Anyhow, I don't think I have it in here though. Anyhow, so I'm doing new things, coming up with new designs. There's that one. I like that. I think that's a good patch or you know, to put on a shirt or something. We also have this. Did I show these before? I don't know. There's like that's like a road, kind of like a highway shield, and so those are a couple things we might be putting in the new merch store. Some designs. So let me know in the chat there what you think. You think they're cool? You think they suck? I know Wes Webb will say they suck, but you know, that's Wes Webb. But he'll probably buy 5 shirts, so with the new logos on it. So yeah, let me know what you think. But yeah, liberals are now the right wing. Like I said, I wish could just think what the left wing would be. We would, the left wing would really be all about getting us Medicare for all, higher wages, maybe a UBI. Oof. And so now this new liberal right wing would be like, well, maybe we should just do a public option. Remember the old thing where I said, if you want $50, ask for 100. It's kind of that line of thinking, I think, is what I'm doing. Jolie's here. Hello, Jolie. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Mod extraordinaire. Jolie is here. Thank you, Jolie. Damon Dog, the big old dog, says liberals are the center. We never moved. They moved the center to the right. We need to move it back. I've never thought of liberals as being the center. I've always thought of liberals as being left of center, quite frankly. I guess I've never really understood this really, like, what is this? Why would anyone be in the center? What does that even mean? It just seems, if you're like dead in the center, it almost seems like you're just against everything. I don't know. It's weird. These political spectrums are weird. They can be weird anyhow. That's why I'm just like about policies. I'm all about the policies, man. Medicare for all, raising minimum wage, making more affordable housing, increasing social safety nets, strengthening social safety nets. That's what I'm about. So if that makes me the new right wing, then all fine. I don't care. I don't care where you put me on the political spectrum. It's about the policies, and if you also share my views about those things I just mentioned, then I don't care what they call. They could call us right wing nut jobs. If we're about those things that I just said, strengthening the social safety nets, Medicare for all, UBI, raising wages, increasing job opportunities, and getting better education out to more and more people, more educational opportunities, skill training opportunities, all those type of things. If that makes me a right-wing nut job, then so be it. I'll call myself a right-wing nut job. But we know that, of course, the right-wing nut jobs are not in favor of any of that stuff. They're just about their thing is, of course, is just Second Amendment. It's all God's guns and gays. We purport that we believe in God, this a loving God, but we never read the Bible, and we are anything but loving in our own lives. Guns, we actually worship guns more than we worship God, and gays, we hate gays. That's what the right wingers are all about. So, anyhow, I'm trying to get my chat to sit still for a minute. Luck Dragon, Luck Dragon's here. Hey, Luck Dragon, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Who else we got? Who else we got in this mess? In this chat room that we call the Driver's Lounge. If there's any for new people that haven't been here before, we call it the Driver's Lounge. So welcome to the Driver's Lounge, by the way. West Webb says, but fuck you if you are going to try to take my house away from me. I'm not going to try to do that. I won't. I promise, Wes, I will not try to take your house away from you. Gordon Briggs is here. Hey, Gordon, good to see you. Don't think I've seen that name before in the Driver's Lounge, so thanks for being here. Gordon Briggs says, who was the televangelist guy? I have sinned. I think, well, all have sinned. And all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So I guess it could be anyone. It could be anyone. Oh, Elam, Dr. Death. Dr. Death. Thanks for being here. I don't know what that's about. MM Notes here. MM Notes says Swaggart. Jimmy Swaggart. Oh, he was always crying. He was always getting busted for being with hookers and blow. Actually, at a certain point in my life, I would have partied with. I want to party with him. I want to party with Jimmy Swaggart. I was all about the blow and the hookers, in my 20s, early to mid 20s, I guess. Yeah, and he was always getting busted for that. But then he would have to go on camera and he would cry because didn't want that resource to dry up. You ever see? Have you guys ever seen the Righteous Gemstones on HBO? I highly recommend just episode 1, season 1. That's really all you need to watch. You don't really. The rest of the series is funny and it's good, and Walton Goggins is really good in it. I like Walton Goggins, but really, I think all you have to is watch, or maybe the first few episodes of season 1 is really all you need, because the rest of it doesn't really do what I thought the show was going to do, which would be a total expose on these televangelists, that just rake in the fucking money, probably most of it tax-free, because they're a church. And the show, it's a comedy. It's got that dude, what's his face is the creator, who makes all those shows. But they veered off and just into all these different weird things. But I think they should have just stuck with the theme of it. And they did stick with it, but I guess not to my liking. About just what ripoffs and what charlatans these televangelists are. They're total charlatans, and they've got more than one private jet. They've got homes all over the place. They jet set all over the world. They're just they're living the life, man. They're living the rock star life, and they're out fucking whores and doing blow. They've been doing it probably since the beginning of time, but certainly in America and for decades and decades, since the 50s and 60s, right up to today, even before then, I'm sure to some level, but just getting on camera and telling everyone, got to send your money we need the money because we got to get the word of Christ out, and we need money in order to do that, in order to make these TV stations and all that, whatever, they make these big, they're just a constant pitch for money, and kind of like what I do. We do have a goal. We're 3 out of 5, I believe, on the goals. But I don't have a private jet, and I'm also not. I don't say that if you give me money that you will go to heaven when you die. In order to do that, but anyhow, Righteous Gemstones, especially the season 1, really, I think it's a good sort of exposure or expose of just what charlatans and how just They were making so much money on this TV show that they were just stuffing it in the walls and shit. It was kind of like, did you ever see Narco? Was it Narco? Or kind of like Breaking Bad, I guess. In Narco, they were putting money in those like 50-gallon oil drums and burying them because they didn't know where to put all their fucking money. In Breaking Bad, he's trying to make all these, Walter White trying to make the car wash and all these businesses to try to sort of launder his money. But even then, he still was stuffing money in his floorboards and everything, in the attics and shit. And in drums. I think he was burying his money out in the desert. That's the way these fucking churches are, these fucking televangelist churches. Just making money hand over fist. I mean, just ungodly amounts of money. And I don't believe them. I don't believe that they are really godly men or women. There's Paula White. The personal, I think, what is she? Like the personal spiritual advisor to Donald Trump? Paula White? She's another one. She's made millions and millions and millions of dollars off of these rubes that are only too glad to hand over their money, and they can't afford to give that money, but they do it anyhow. So if there's anyone listening, if you're going to give money to someone, give to me. We got super chats, super stickers. We got memberships that start for as low as price of a candy bar, Snicker bar. But if you're the type of person that gives big money out to like Joel Osteen, or back in the day to the late great Jimmy Swaggart, I don't believe he's with us any longer. Is he? Or is he? He's passed away, I believe. Then I recommend you going to the highest tier level of the memberships, because you're just the type of person I need. Anyhow, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you guys. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Those are free. So I don't like those as well. No, those are just as good. They help get the show out into the algorithm, because we are trying to get to 5,000 subscribers for a little thing that we call 5K Hennessy Day. 5K Hennessy Day. When we hit 5,000 subscribers, I've got a bottle of Hennessy in the cupboard with my name on it. Well, my name's not literally on it, but you know what I mean. And we're going to crack that baby open. And we're going to celebrate. Celebrate good times. Come on. Do. All right, I'm trying to keep up the chat. There's a lot of people in the chat, so the chat does move more fastly than usual. I can speak, and I have good grammar. MJ Daniel says, I saw something about those cameras following a guy crossing to buy pot in a state that's legal. There is no freedom under MAGA. Yeah, MAGA is everything that MAGA was afraid of, as far as like losing their privacy, all that shit, Love Dragon, I left my car. Left my car in my house, my instruments. Where I left my pets. I think that was, you guys were talking about the fires, because we had the fire portion of the intro up there in Washington State, where MJ Daniel's from. So be careful up there, MJ. I hope you're staying safe from them fires up there. Chat's moving good here. Let's see if I can slow it down a little bit. Ibn Note says, dude that started the Spokane fires was out on manslaughter. Catch and release. So sorry for all those folks, the animals, and the environment. Yeah, motherfuckers who start fires, as far as I'm concerned, should be thrown in prison and never see the light of day ever again, as far as I'm concerned. Did I say as far as I'm concerned? Yes, as far as I'm concerned. All right, just skipping down a little bit here. The chat is skipping down all on its own. Belfast Bob. Hey, Belfast Bob. Good to see you. From Ireland. We got Belfast Bob. He says, and their guns and their bombs. Zombie. Zombie, zombie, ha, ha, ha. I like that song. I'm sad that the girl singer died. Very sad. David Dog says the VA not only saved my life but gave me a life worth living. That's awesome. I'm glad that you're still with us, Damon Dog. DBD says a man traveled to Michigan to purchase weed and returned back to his home state of Wisconsin. He was tracked by flock cameras and arrested for illegal possession of marijuana. There you go, MAGA. Is that what you wanted? Because I'm positive there are lots of maggots that smoke pot. So, is that what you had in mind, MAGA? When you voted for Donald Trump 3 fucking times? And you got him in there 2 out of 3. It's a pretty good batting average. What is that, 666? Oof. Is 2 out of 3 a 666 batting average? That's pretty scary. If you're a religious person who believes in that kind of shit. Vasantha's here. Hey, Vasantha, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Oh, thanks for popping on in. Petrazi is here. Hey, Petrazi, good to see you. Thanks for popping in the old chat room. Oh, Elam, who's the Wright brothers? NASCAR's on. Yeah, NASCAR's on. David Windler from Bay Area. It says flying cars are only $40,000. West Webb says John denies democracy. I think you're talking about Fugelsang and not me. He thinks that it is the same as communism, or maybe you are talking about me. I don't, because I don't even know. I don't think any of that, and I don't think Fugelsang does. Just now getting to the David Weiss super chat, so you get a bonus yippee to David Weiss, $2 super chat. I fart in your general direction. That's pretty funny. I fart on you. I poop on you. Michelle says Trump is why we can't have nice. I'll go ahead and fill in the blank. Things. Yeah. Speaking of Trump, okay, so you guys had a chance to look at the logos, the new logos. I hope you like them. Let's see. So here's a little meme action. It's always hard. Here's a little meme action. This is from a guy named George Washington. Perhaps you've heard of him. Now, I did not fact check to make sure. You know, you post these memes and it's like, he never said that. So I don't know. But anyhow, I like the sentiment here. It says, no punishment is too great for the man who can build his greatness upon his country's ruin. Now, we got Trump, who is trying to build wealth. I don't know about greatness. He's become more wealthy in this last year and a half since he became president the second time than he ever did in the whole previous 80 years of his life. And we can see, we got people, you know, talking about flock cameras invading their privacy. Of course, he's destroyed our economy. He was handed off a pretty decent economy from Joe Biden. He's destroyed that. We just had the job numbers were I guess updated. What was supposed to be, I think, an 80,000 job gain for July actually was a 20,000 job loss. They also had to revise, I think, May and June numbers, and those were much, much lower than what they had been reporting. Just like 20,000 jobs gained in June, I think. I mean, we're getting. I can remember the second term of George W. Bush, and those last 2 or 3 years, where not only were the job creation had been dwindling and dwindling, then it got to the point where it was just losses in the hundreds of thousands every month. 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 job loss for like 2 straight years of Bush. And so here we go again. And like I've said this over and over again, Republicans destroy the economy, they destroy jobs, they take us to the brink of, well, we went to a recession, almost a depression under Bush. They do this time and time again. Clinton had to clean up the Reagan first Bush era, 12 years of that. Clinton had to clean that up. Obama had to come in and clean up W's fucking mess. Biden, in one term, cleaned up Trump's mess. Now here he is again making another mess, and we're just going to have to get in there and clean it up. It sure would be nice, American people, if we would stop electing these goddamn Republicans so we could stop spending so much time cleaning up their fucking messes and we could actually get some things done around this place. Like I said before, like Medicare for all. Like creating more jobs, more opportunities, better educational and training opportunities, all those things. More housing, affordable housing. Anyhow. Is that too much to ask? So yeah, the guy that we're talking about is this guy. This guy right here. I think Joe, or whoever that was, I guess Canada Hates Trump posted this. I think Jojo from Jersey liked it or something like that. And again, here I am zooming myself in. Hello, everybody. Hello. This is such a screwy setup, but here we go. There you go. That's the guy with this. He's got a new hairdo. At least he's got that going for himself. You know. Got a new hairdo. Shit. There. Okay. I guess we'll just leave that. But so that's the guy. Okay, I'm just now scrolling to West Webb's $7.77 super chat. So you get another yippee going out to West Webb. I'll give you a heart and thumbs up. So I never liked you nor any of you other trucksters. You can't even say truckler correctly. It's truckler. And Damon Dog, your bonus yippee out to Damon Dog for a $4.99 super chat. Heat wave bonus. Yeah. It's hot. It's hot. Now, we're supposed to have a little cooling trend, I think, sometime during the week where we're going to be under triple digits for about 3 glorious days. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. Who else we got in the chat? Susie Ann Jones. Me and Mrs. Jones. Oh. Okay, let's see who else is in here. Josh C's. Always good to see Josh C's, man of the theater. Man of the theater, Josh C's is in the driver's lounge. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. I do declare that it looks like we got DPD. Is it DPD? I don't know why I can't see it. Oh, there we go. DPD, yippee, going out to DPD for a $20 super chat. It's important to cut. It is important to cut ties with all Democrats. I'll get to that. I will read that. I promise. It just keeps jumping away. I'll get to it. But thank you so much, DPD. I think we're 4 out of 5, and I will get to that. I have a feeling it might have something to do with cutting ties with Democrats who support AIPAC or support giving weapons to Israel. I'm just guessing. Well, I'll see if I was right when we get down, when I scroll down to DPD's super chat. Let's see if I was right. MM Note says that was a great compilation. I think they're referring to the intro. Thank you very much. Big Hook, the big Canuck is here. Thank you so much. 11:38. So I'm like 32 minutes behind, I think, something like that. 32 minutes behind. Paul Burrows says it was 42 degrees this morning up there. Now, for those of you that don't know, Paul Burrows is up in Idaho. I think up near the Panhandle part of the state, but I could be wrong. At St. Mary's, Idaho. I forget exactly where St. Mary's is, but 42 degrees in the morning. For me, in the morning, it was probably 95 or so. At the same time that you were having 42 degrees, we were at about probably 98, maybe 95, or at least somewhere in the mid-90s, probably. All right, let me go ahead and skip down a little bit. West Webb says, John, I think meaning Fugelsang, doesn't understand that writing a book about Jesus doesn't make you a saint. Why do you think he doesn't understand that? Do you really think, are you just trying to be controversial? Do you really think that John Fugelsang thinks that because he wrote this book that makes him a saint? Both either literally or figuratively? I thought you were supposed to judge not. Yes, lest ye be judged, as you have judged others. West Webb. Big Hook says Whoopi Goldberg made it her summer reading pick. Separation of church and hate. That's it. I was close. I was pretty close. Yeah, separation of church and hate. It's a play. It's called a play on words. West Webb. You know, because we have this thing called separation of church and state in this country. Some people don't believe that. They think this should be they think that America should be a theocracy. They think that it should be like the equivalent of Sharia law. It should be like a Christian Sharia law. And if you are a true American that believes in the Constitution, you would not believe that. You would not believe any of that. Let's see. OMG. What? LOL is here. Good to see you. Yeah, Susie Ann Jones. Everyone is telling me separation of church and hate. Aware. CB7878 says Tim Walz was highly critical for getting the few laws passed that we do have against trading personal stocks within the government. You mean he was criticized for doing that? Well, of course, probably anyone who is engaging in these insider trading deals and trading individual stocks and making lots of money on it are going to probably not be too happy. They're going to be disappointed. Yeah. West Webb says, I have actually read most of it until it started making me want to puke. So you did buy. Did you go to Liberal Dan's site and could you at least do that? So you read most of it, but why did it make you want to puke? I don't get that. Hey, here's David Weiss coming in again, hot and heavy, with a $6.60 super chat. Yippee to David Weiss. Thank you so much. I believe we made the goal at that point. I think DPD got us into bonus territory. And David Weiss says John Fugelsang hangs in my Kindle. I'll get to it. It's not a chore. No, it's not a chore, but you should probably read it soon. All right, who else we got in this old chat room? Wes Webb says, read the Cliff Notes. John is full of shame and hypocrisy. Want you to feel it too. I think Wes Webb, I think you're just butthurt. You're just a little butthurt little, secret maggot, because you won't admit to being a maggot. And you don't like being called out for your hypocrisy. I'm just spitballing. Deb Denny's here. Hey, Deb, good to see you. Says, I never know when Wes is being hateful or sarcastic. I think he just likes to stir. Yeah, you're right about that. He's a pot stirrer. That's for sure. MJ Daniel says evangelicals and Republicans must hate their churches too. I think there must be another O in there, because they keep wanting to teach their Bible in schools. Yeah, why can't they just go to church and learn about the Bible? Hey, if they want the Bible to be taught in public schools, then so does the Quran, the Torah, or whatever the Jewish Bible is called. So does the Book of Buddha. I don't know. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but whatever. All these religious teachings of Buddhism and everything else, even the Church of Satan, it would all have to be in there. You can't. That's the thing about living in a free society where you're supposed to have the separation of church and state. You can't just choose one. You can't just prop up one. If you're going to put up one in, you got to put them all in. The Cognitively, there's 78 is here. Greetings from Germany. Hey. Thanks for being here. You must have a really good signal to pick us up all the way from Germany. Aware, CB7878 says he probably talks about the history of separation of church and state, then talks about what the far right have done to try to dismantle the separation. Yeah, that and hypocrisy. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy issues there, or theming, or whatever. Damon Dog, the big old dog, says, if you met Wes in Zoom, you'd look at his post differently. He's actually a very likable guy. Yeah, that's the thing. Wes is, not a bad person, but he sure does rub people the wrong way a lot of times. That's for sure. But I think the intent, now he might not ever admit this, but I think the intent is to make us get out of our boxes, our little boxes, and think outside the box, or really hear kind of what the other side is thinking or saying, and so I think it's a good exercise, kind of, Big Hook says, you missed the point, Wes. He wrote about the true teachings of Jesus and how everything maggots cherry pick from the Bible is out of context. The New Testament largely changes the narrative. Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, the church, that's the big thing. The hypocrisy and the cherry picking, where they just want to use the quotes from the Bible that will justify their beliefs, and then ignore the ones that will go against the things that they want to do. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Oalim says there is no center in the U.S., just right. And writer, my history professor in Denmark taught me in 1995. Huh. Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, I understand, because it's money. It's the money that has corrupted everything. That's why I'm always preaching about getting money out of politics, because it's really not right or left. It's money. It's oligarchy. Or oligarchy. It's where the top 1/10 of 1% is really who Congress listens to, and the bottom 99.9% of us we're lucky if they once every 20 or 30 years we might get a crumb. We might get a little crumb of something. West Webb says, Johnny, you have no clue. Private property is theft. If you ask the right what the left believes, that the right, well, I don't know about, but when you say that, it just reminds me of talking to libertarians, who I think some libertarians think that they're lefties, or some people think libertarians are left, when they're not. They're really just Republicans on steroids. But this is the type of language I hear from libertarians about when they talk about private property. Oh, well, when they talk about theft, they're talking about taxes. The taxes are a theft from the government. But so what are you saying, Wes? We shouldn't have private property? Like no one should own, like you shouldn't own your house or something? Or is that, maybe you should give your house to public housing or something then? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. The cognitively, there's 78. The right wing is just made of hate. We know about the stuff here in Germany. Kent, separation of church and hate. Yeah, so this is all when I was talking about the book, the Fugelsang book, and you guys were helping me out with the title. Paul Burrows says the right wing and the left wing are the wings of the same bird. Yeah, and I guess for this analogy, I guess the bird is the country. Yeah, and you've got a left wing and you've got a right wing, and those wings will determine which direction we go. So they're both wings of the same bird, but they do, at least in theory, they're supposed to go in different directions. So hence, they're not the same in that sense. They are the same in that they are both wings, but one goes to the right and one goes to the left. .007 Kevin Troll Slayer. He's the one who sends those trolls on the run. He's the Troll Slayer. Is here. 007 Kevin Troll Slayer says the whole idea of John's book, talking about Fugelsang, because I don't have a book out, is saying there are evangelists that say, if you wish to believe in Christ, Christ is my checkbook. And he is saying that, and Fugelsang is saying that that's not so. The Bible says differently. Yeah, so that's probably one of the things. I'm sure there are many things that the book is saying. And that's one of the things that, yeah, you don't need to, it's kind of like Bono said in one of his songs, like, uh, what does he say? Like, the God I worship doesn't need no money, or something like that. Bono said that. Wes Webb says, in case you didn't know, I am part of the Trucker John show. You're one of the OGs, Wes. You are one of the OGs. And I'm excited about the new Trucker John merch channel coming out. Because I'm going to have t-shirts and merchandise for the OGs. I'm going to have giveaways for some of the OGs, like Wes Webb, like Jolie, like Aaron, some of the longtime members that have been here since the beginning. I'm going to have special commemorative giveaways to honor you guys. And we're going to have some fucking OG Truckler, and I'm going to send one to you, Wes. And then I'm going to make a special mod t-shirts and it's going to say on the back, full mod capacity. I'm going to send one to Jolie and I'm going to send one to Aaron. And we're going to have other giveaways for members. So that's something to look for in the new Trucker John merch store, which hopefully will be up and running by next week sometime. It's not all about buying. I'm going to have also a special section it's going to go. Proceeds are going to go to charities. We're going to have that in the store. So it's not all about just buying merch for me because I can make $3 on it. That's about what you make is $2 or $3 or whatever on this stuff. So, I know I'll probably have 5 or 6 of my diehards that will buy a shirt. So that's gonna, I'm gonna make a whopping, $15 or $20 profit, and then that'll be about it. But I'm gonna have giveaways. We're gonna have special shirts made for the OGs. We're gonna when people come up on certain anniversaries, we're gonna and you're gonna have to send me your shipping information, folks, if you want one of these T-shirts. But I'll make T-shirts that will commemorate and honor our members. There's a whole thing going on with the merch store. I'm really excited about it. If you can tell, hopefully you can tell, I am pretty excited about it. And it's not about just you buying stuff, regular merch so I can make my $3. It's about giving back. I'm going to give T-shirts out, like I said, to longtime members, and also to my mods. You guys are going to get your special own mod T-shirt. So that's all in the works. So I'm excited about it. The cognitive there 78 says, which is radical left in the U.S.? I don't know. Antifa? I don't know. DSA? Yeah, that probably so minute that yeah, we don't even know who they are probably. Gordon Briggs says Guns and Moses. Welcome to the jungle. Wes Webb says I never loved me any dogs, and their names were not Rex, nor Chongo, nor Bambi, nor Pebbles, nor Precious. Okay, well, thanks for that rundown. Look, Dragon says, holy crap, I just got an ad on Trucker John Livestream. That rarely fucking happens. We are growing, Jolie. Is that what that is? Because I know Wes Webb has been complaining about the ads. Gordon Briggs, I watched you years ago. Oh, well, I'm glad you came back in. I'm sorry that we've been away for so long, or been apart for so long. The cognitively there, somebody says, how often is Trucker John? We are now on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. That's our regular schedule, 10 a.m. my time in Germany, I don't know. You might have to Google what time that is or whatever. But 10 a.m. and on Saturdays though we come on at 11. That's why I am thinking about maybe just changing all the shows come on at 11. I might change Tuesdays and Thursdays to 11 a.m. Pacific time, and that way it's straight across the board. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, 11 a.m. So that might be a new change. Today we started at 11, right after Hal. So maybe starting Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, I think I'm going to change it to 11. That also gives me an extra hour to prepare. And a lot of times I get home late if I happen to drive the night before because I do taxi driving, and that makes me get home really, really super late, like 3 or 4 in the morning sometimes. And it's so I used to start at 9 a.m. and that was just proving to be way too difficult. But yeah, so 11 a.m.'s. I think we're going to start Tuesday. So announcement. This is just this is didn't even run this by Jolie or anybody. But let's just plan on Tuesday starting new time, 11 a.m. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Paul Burrows, I never did hookers. Hippie girls were scary enough. Hey, man, hookers blow. Booze, every bit of booze you can imagine. Whatever drug was in front of my face, I would take it. Whatever happened to come by, There was a brief period. There was a bit of a dark period for old Trucker John in his early 20s. Early to mid 20s, I guess. I don't know. Fortunately, I got out of it and it wasn't, any worse than it was. West Webb, I have a 95-year-old uncle. I would love to have you meet him, but that might be creepy. I don't know if that's just a general invitation there or what. Jolie, 5K Hennessy Day. Yep, let's get the 5K, folks. We're at 4,550 something. We just need 400 and what do we need? Less than 450. Come on, we could do it. Hit that like, subscribe, share, hit the hype button. Those are free, and they get us out into the algorithm. Look, we're getting out into the algorithm where we got people from Germany and Ireland, and sometimes we get the Netherlands in here. Sometimes we get Australia. Hey, what happened to our expat from Australia? I haven't seen him in a while. Hope he's okay. Michelle says they say America food banks are running out of food, and the churches had better step up. Look, Dragon's twin, says Jolie, or if Trump dies, whatever comes first is Hennessy Day. I don't drink hard liquor anymore, only beer, but I am buying a bottle of Hennessy on either of those days. In honor of the Trucker John show, I think, by Hennessy. Kit is here. Jim and Tammy. Yeah, Jimmy and Tammy Faye Baker. They were big charlatans. Absolutely. I think Jimmy Baker is still alive. Jim Baker, not Jimmy. I think at least as of recently, I think I saw him hawking. He was one of the ones that tried to hawk the pancake batter, the 5-gallon buckets of pancake batter. One of those like prepper things. Deb Denny says televangelists plugged into the homebound early on. Oh yeah, they did. MJ Daniel, televangelists in the 70s and 80s were the worst. Elizabeth Clare Prophet, Robert Tilton, Benny Hinn. I remember Benny Hinn. I think I remember Robert Tilton. I don't know about the Elizabeth Clare. I probably do. I just don't remember that name. Is she the one that had the long hair? Kind of attractive? Or am I thinking of the daughter of one of the televangelists that she took over for? I think that's who I'm thinking of. Anywho. Because is he talking about White Lotus? I don't know who you're asking about. Who's talking about what? This is a 35-minute ago post probably, so I don't know what I'm talking about. DPD, hey, there's DPD. Says, oh, did I ever get to DPD's? I think I still have to get to DPD's super chat. But anyhow, DPD says, why has Hakeem Jeffries chosen to wage holy war on any black progressive candidate in order to be accepted? They must be welcoming to him. Fuck Jeffries. Yeah, I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but Hakeem Jeffries is a bought and paid for, you know, centrist, conservative. So that's why you asked why. That's the answer. Okay, the question is, why has Hakeem Jeffries chosen to wage holy war on a black progressive candidate? The answer is because he is a bought and paid for, corporately owned shill conservative. That's the answer. Thank you. Next question. The cognitively theirs 78 says, Jesus loves me, and he knows I'm right. What was the song? Wasn't it Jesus loves me? Wasn't it He told me so or something like that? It's been a long time since I've been in church, so. Dib Denny, they found money in the bathroom wall of Joel Osteen's church. Is that a question or a statement? Because I don't know. Look, Dragon says that's hella funny, Trucker, because I seen the first 3 episodes and just stopped watching it completely. That is hilarious. That's probably all you need. Now, I really like the show. I think it was 3 seasons. I watched all 3, or maybe it was more seasons. I think I watched the complete show. I watched every season. I like the show. It's a funny show. I just don't. I think it just veered off into being too comedic, or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the right. If I'm saying it right, but like I think it should have been more. It should have been more of a dig, I guess, against these right-wing evangelical televangelist super churches. But it just got into a bunch of other stuff. But it's a good show. It's a good show, But it just made them too likable. Like John Goodman was the patriarch, I guess, or whatever. He was the leader, the father, and he was getting older, and then kind of passing eventually. He had 3 sons and a daughter, and they were worming their way into it and everything, but it kind of made them too likable. And I don't think these people in real life are very likable at all. I don't think Jimmy Swaggart, other than he might be fun to party with in my 20s, but they're not really good people. I don't think Joel Osteen is a very good person. And these other ones that we've mentioned, I don't think they're actually very good. In fact, I think they're very evil. And I don't think that the Righteous Gemstones portrayed these people as being evil, or at least not enough. They basically, in the comedic sense, the guy the main guy, you guys know his name, the curly-haired guy. He's the creator of the show, and he was one of the brothers. I can't remember his name, but it was that type of humor where it's just they're just buffoons. They're a bunch of morons, which is true. It's almost like they're the Trump family in that sense. A bunch of buffoonish morons that just were born with a silver spoon up their asses and have all this money. That's basically what it was about. But I don't think it really. I guess what we need is a more of a serious drama than a comedy. But comedies can be very effective. But I just don't think it hit the right notes there. Connolly there says Paula White is a plastic surgery mess. Well, she fits right in then with the whole Mar-a-Lago crew. I think they all are messes. Big Hook says Paula White is a fraudster who speaks in tongues, forked tongues. Yeah, and that's our president's personal spiritual advisor. Who basically, when he, I think after Butler or maybe the other one, was basically comparing Trump to Christ, or being a chosen one. You know, like Christ is the Son of God, Savior. She basically was both simultaneously on her knees, you know, filleting. Is that the way to say it? Because I always think of like cutting open a fish. But anyhow, Trump, and also praising him as being the Savior. You know, the Savior to mankind. Oh, DBD says Jimmy Swaggart has been better than a doornail since 2025. Well, to me, that's pretty recent. That's just last year, so, you know. West Webb says, alcohol is my enemy, but also my friend. I don't need to tell the story over and over. I used to depend on Norco. Norco? North Corona, California? Norco? Amy Pike says, now it's crypto for money laundering. Yeah, oh, absolutely. That's why they love that shit. Crypto, the great place for human traffickers and gun runners and drug dealers and shysters like the Trump family to hide their money. Yeah, you don't need 50-gallon drums anymore. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Amy. You're right. Big Hook 1158. Time reference. Oh, wow. I think I'm over 40 minutes, 42 minutes behind. I'm 42 minutes behind you. I feel sorry for you guys. I'm talking about chats that you posted 42 minutes ago, and you are so far beyond that. I mean, maybe I should just skip down. Should I just skip down? Because 42 minutes is a lot. I mean, you know. And you guys have probably moved way on beyond wherever I'm at now. So I might skip down a little bit, do some needle dropping, as I like to call it. I might do a little needle dropping. Or I might try to look at the chat, because if I look at the phone, I can get the most current, where West Webb says, laughing out loud, Big Hook, I thought you were Jewish. See, but then I'm out of context, and I have no idea what you guys are talking about. The cognitively there, 78 says, you need an assistant now. Well, I don't think that would ever. If I'm going to try to read most of the chats, then having an assistant won't matter. It's just the fact that I'm reading the chats that's just going to always take time, you know, no matter what. So unless I just completely change the format of the show and I just do like other shows and just play clips and we can just talk about the clips and then just refer to the chat sporadically or occasionally, that, you know, there's that type of format. Or there's what I do here, and I try to read most of the chats. I can't read them all, even with this format. Susie Ann says, Susan Jones says, Paula White, not Polly White. Speaking of Polly Shore saw a billboard in Vegas, is in town. I think he lives here. If you like the old Polly Shore, he's in town doing some stand up. Anyhow, Susie says, Paula White speaks gibberish and spits on people to repent. Why not on Trump, for fuck's sakes? The Cranberries. Yeah, Miss Kitty. Zombie. Eh. That one. Nick Rich, 12 noon, so I'm still 43 minutes behind. So I'm gonna skip down somewhat here. Start needle dropping. Like here, for instance, MJ Daniel says, I'm a bit of a pyro, but never anybody's property. You just burn your own shit. Okay, all right. Just don't let it get out of hand. What's this? Oalem says, how does that feel when the leopard eats your face, maggots? West Webb says, John knows I am just poverty away from my vehicle breaking down. You're poverty away from it, huh? I don't think, but you don't believe in private property. You should not own a house and you should not own a car. You should not own anything. because you don't believe in private property. What the fuck, hypocrite? Look, Dragon says my girlfriend actually likes Jimmy Swaggart a lot, but she cannot stand the Bakers. Well, apparently Jimmy Swaggart is dead now, so you don't have to worry about that. And Tammy Faye is no longer with us. I think Jim is still around, though. So watch out for that one. If you see a bunch of 5-gallon buckets of pancake batter showing up at your house, then that probably means that your girlfriend's been watching Jimmy Baker or Jim Baker and stocking up on the pancake batter, for those end times. For those end times, I recommend the Jim Baker pancake batter. Zombie. Now I got that song. I got that constant refrain in my head. West says, aren't Jimmy and Tammy? Tammy is passed. I think Jimmy is still alive, Jim Baker. Jimmy Swaggart, DPD is updated is long gone, or at least a year ago dead. I believe Jim Baker might still be alive, but not 100% on that one either. Gordon Briggs says, I think that George guy's got a point. That was in reference to the meme I had up there about the George Washington quote. Big Hook, I think Jim, as in Jim Baker, is still alive and grifting, yeah. Doing a lot of those end times things, pancake batter. I'm just going to skip down a little bit. MJ Daniel says, sounds a lot like what Tom Hartman says he heard from a German businessman about taxes. He said he did not want to be wealthy in a poor nation. Yeah, and I think I've quoted that same guy. Because I think I saw that on some news hour show like 10 or 15 years ago. MM Note says their numbers are always wrong. Convince me we've lost 14 service people in Iran. Yeah, and I think that they try to not count an additional 4, because I know we were up to at least 18. And then, like you say, how many others have they not counted? Wes Webb says, I don't watch bullshit, but don't begrudge those who do. It is their cost for comfort. Okay, that's fine. If that comforts them to send money to Joel Osteen and any of these others, okay, fine. That gives them comfort. But they should know, don't you think, where their money is going for, or going to? Maybe Joel Osteen set up one soup kitchen in Austin, Texas, or wherever he's out of, just so he could somehow justify his claims of helping the poor. But did the other 99.9% of it, if it's just going into his private jets and his mansions and his opulent lifestyle, I think the people have a right to at least know that. And if they want to keep giving the guy money, I guess that's freedom. That's freedom. You can give the guy all the money you want, but I think you should. I think he and others like him should be exposed if they're not really doing, God's work, and they're just propping themselves up to live like little kings in Texas and other places like this of this nature. I think it's not begrudging you. I'm not begrudging anyone. I think people should know, though, that it is pretty much a scam. All that probably 99.9% of the money that you are sending into some televangelist is not going to feed the hungry or house the poor or to send missionaries out to preach the word. You know, maybe 1/10 of 1% of it is going to that, and all the rest of it is going in his fucking pockets, and apparently into the walls of his buildings, and into 50-gallon oil drums, and into crypto. So it's not about begrudging, but it is about exposing. And I think people, if they're being lied to or misled like that, I think they should know the truth. West Webb 700 Club assured you of heaven. Who doesn't want that? Right? Who wouldn't want that? If all I had to do was send in some money to Jim and Tammy Faye, you know, like a regular $100 a month or whatever, and that was going to guarantee me a place in heaven for all eternity. Yeah, that's, why not? That's a lot easier than actually having to try to live a good biblical Christ-like life, don't you think? If all I got to do is send in, even some people probably were sending in $5 a month or $10 a month, $20 a month. That's money well spent. If that's going to guarantee you a life and eternity in heaven, that's much easier than having to live like Christ, to sell all your possessions and take up the cross. You know, because God says that it'll be easier for a camel. You know how big camels are with those big humps and everything? And you know how an eye of a needle is like that big? He said it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Fuck that. If I can just give Jimmy Swaggart or Baker or Olstein $20 a month or $50 a month, fuck, that's a lot easier to get into heaven. I'll take that route. Fuck yeah. That's money well spent. I got a place in heaven all waiting for me. And it only cost me $50 a month, man. Can't beat that. You can't beat that. That's a... Whew. That it sells itself, ladies and gentlemen. That plan, it sells itself. You don't even have to be a good salesman. Who wouldn't? For the cheap, low bargain-based price of just whatever you want. You know, we don't even put a limit on it or a minimum. Well, maybe a minimum. We would like you to send at least $20 a month, okay? But for the low bargain-based price of just whatever it is, 10, 15, $20 a month, you could, and there's no limit, folks. If you want to send us $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, 10 grand, you know, we're not going to put a limit on that. There's no upward limit. But really, folks, can you put a price on heaven, for living in heaven for all eternity? Can you really put a price on that? So come on, we've got operators waiting. Call our 800 number. It's on the bottom of the screen. On the bottom of the screen there. Don't be shy. Call that number right now. We have operators waiting to help you, to take your credit card information. Operators standing by. It's much easier than trying to go through the eye of a needle, man. You're never going to do it. But with us, just send us money. There's going to be a spot waiting for you up there, right next to God and Jesus and everybody. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, just now, I'm sorry, DPD. It took me 45 minutes to get to you. But yippee, here's a bonus yippee to DPD, $20 super chat. I'll give you a thumbs up and a heart. Okay, let's see here now. Was I right? Because remember, I was guessing that it was going to have something to do with APAC or something. Okay, so DPD says, $20 super chat. I'll give you a thumbs up and a heart. Okay, let's see here now. Was I right? Because remember, I was guessing that it was going to have something to do with APAC or something. Okay, so DPD says, $20 super chat. It is important to cut ties with all Democrats who continue to take money from AIPAC. Ding, 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 ding. I was right. Because, and I didn't read that far. I only read like the first line, so just so you know. Because they have pledged to fund Mike Nazi Rogers. This includes John Fetterman. We must kick the pink hats to the curb who are MAGA light. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree. Any Democrat, any motherfucking Democrat that is supporting Mike Rogers, who is a fucking Republican, I don't care if it was against Haley Stevens, if they were supporting Mike Rogers, they should be excommunicated from the Democratic Party. So since we're getting all religious-y, I'm going to say excommunicated. Any Democrat who supports Mike Rogers, I'm going to even go one further. Any Democrat that supports any fucking Republican on any party against any Democrat should be excommunicated from the Democratic Party. And I'm talking to you, James Carville, you fucking dried up old prune motherfucker. Other than that, that's all I got to say. I was kind of confused. I was combining, I think, House Sparks and Forrest Gump there for a second. But anyhow, thank you so much, DPD, for the $20 super chat. And I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Fuck these dinos. These fucking dinos. If you're going to fucking support Republicans, then get the fuck out of my party. This is my party. I've been a Democrat my entire motherfucking life. I've never voted for a Republican in my life. And I never plan on ever voting for a Republican. I don't support Republicans. I'm a Democrat through and through. And so if there's any Democrats in my fucking party that's going to support Republicans, then there's the door right there. I'm pointing at the door. There it is. Don't let it slam your fucking ass on the way out. You dino motherfucking dino Democrat in name only. Get the fuck out. Yeah, I'm talking to you, James Carville, and anyone else like you. All right, let me skip down and needle drop. DPD says, Luck Dragon, that's the problem. They never do. Mike Nazi is running. I guess Mike Rogers is running against Abdul El Sayed. I will get that name right. Just like I got Mondani right. I'm going to get El Sayed. Abdul El Sayed. Anyway, he's running against him. These motherfuckers would prefer MAGA win over a progressive. Now, that's fucked up. Yeah, and like I said, don't let the screen door hit your fucking white fucking pasty ass, because that's probably who it is. Well, except for Hakeem, but you know what I mean. Don't let that screen door slam you in the ass on the way out of the Democratic Party. You don't belong here. If you're supporting Republicans over Democrats, I don't care what kind of Democrat it is. You do not support Republicans. And call yourself a Democrat. If you want to be an independent or not affiliated with any party, then you could do all you want. But if you're going to be a registered Democrat, then you need to support the other members of your fucking party. Well, otherwise, why be in the fucking party? If you hate this party so much that you can't support the winners of a primary, for God's sakes, then get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. All right, I'm scrolling down and needle dropping. I'm going to try to catch up to you guys. Blood Dragon Swin says, I hope I'm right and I hope you're wrong. Now, I'm a bit mid-thread. I think we're still talking about the AIPAC and Democrats and stuff. Love Dragon says, I hope I'm right and I hope you're wrong, but I like I think Democrats are going to show up and vote blue no matter who. DPD. This will be the only time in my life that I hope you are wrong. So I missed some of the conversation there, so I'm not exactly sure what DPD said. Exactly, in reference to that. But I do think we're going to have, I'm going to tend to agree with La Dragon here. I do think that we are going to have a big turnout. Big turnouts, as I've said and as stated before, are usually good for Democrats. The larger the turnout, usually that bodes better for the Democrats. Smaller or lower turnouts usually benefit the Republicans. So I think we're going to have a big turnout. I think we've seen over the last year and a half, we've seen lots of Democrats overperform in some of these special elections. We've seen them win in districts or areas that Trump carried heavily. And we've seen Democrats win in those areas. So I think that's a good sign. I think lots of people are just really chomping at the bit, as I am, to get to November and vote. And for me, it's going to be Democrat, straight ticket all the way down. It always is, always will be. But I think we're going to have a big turnout, and big turnouts usually bode well for us, the Democrats. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we got to vote. We got to get out there and vote, folks. Okay, I'm scrolling down and needle dropping. West Webb, fuck you, John. I never liked you ever. West Webb, now you're just lying. I want everyone to know West Webb loves me. All right, West Webb fucking loves me. Don't let him fool you. I'm not gonna let you fool me. I know you love me, Wes. All right, scrolling down. By scrolling down, I just mean that pretend this is the chat. And so for scrolling down, it means I just kind of go like this to make the chat scroll down. And now I'm needle dropping means I'm just sort of, or I try to pick one. Like I haven't seen Norm Wilson. I haven't read one of those in a while. So Norm Wilson says, "What's shaking? It's a dog eat dog world, and I'm wearing milk bone underwear." But thanks, Norm Wilson, for being here. I do appreciate you. With the Canadian flag, so might I assume that Norm Wilson is from Canada? Another Canadian. We've got several Canucks, as I like to call you, in the chat at any given moment. So welcome, Norm Wilson. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you for coming on in. West Webb says, I thought I was a liberal. Now all of a sudden I need to be a communist? No, you don't need to be a communist. No one is saying that you need to be a communist. Nope. You can be in the Democratic Party and be a liberal, because that's what I consider myself to be, a liberal progressive. I like to be both. I'm both liberal and progressive at the same time. So you can see how that works. It's not like they're not mutually exclusive. Being a Democrat, being a liberal, and being a progressive really aren't mutually exclusive. Gordon Briggs says, interesting. For chat, what is the name of the Bible you read? I believe it's called Holy. Yeah. So anyhow, hey, I saw Jeff Curry in there. Jeff Curry, I am scrolling down and needle drop, and I see Jeff Curry in there. So thanks for dropping by. From just north of Uranus or something like that. He's somewhere near Uranus, which I don't know why he seems to think that's funny. I don't know. Uranus is just Uranus. This thing, I used to have a like I voted sticker on here, but it eventually came off from watching it. but it's still sticky. And I also I set this on a napkin over here. And every time I lift it up, the napkin wants to come with it. Chock full of nuts. I'm drinking chock full of nuts coffee, everybody. Scrolling down and needle drop, and I'm desperately trying to catch up to you guys. Paul Burrows says, Damon Dog, that's why buffalo can't fly. You keep eating their wings. But Suzanne Jones says, you can see John Fugel saying every day at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on PVN, the Progressive Voices Network. Yeah, I like John Fugelsang. I think he's pretty good. Open invitation to John Fugelsang anytime you want to come on the show. Although I'm not really set up for that. I would have to figure out some different way. I mean, I could just do a live stream directly from the YouTube channel, and then I could bring on someone that way. But open invitation, John Fugelsang. If you ever want to come on the show, we'll talk about your book that I haven't read, that I'd like to read. Anyhow, let's see. I scrolled down big time on that one. I'm needle dropping, so a lot of this will be mid-thread conversation, and I might not know exactly what you're saying, but like here's Oalem. Is that what it is? Oalem. This says, for example, so this is a mid-thread. You guys have been talking. I don't know. It says, for example, when Spain got a Goldman Sachs president, he took healthcare away from migrants, but he couldn't take it away from Spaniards. That's good to know. Gordon Briggs says, yes, Trucker John, the oligarch need another jet. Yeah, you could never have enough jets, apparently. You know, you just never can have enough. You have one in every port, I guess. I'll be YouTubing Happy Dance for the merch giveaway. Yeah, we're going to be doing giveaways. I mean, I want you guys to buy some of this shit, but I'm going to have regular giveaways for members, for certain subscribers. If we hit a milestone in subscriptions, if we hit a milestone in memberships, Truckerversaries, we'll have Truckerversary giveaways, all that good shit. Like right here, Damon Dog, member for 20 months. Yippee! I could just imagine. Now, I'm not saying that we're exactly doing this yet, Damon Dog, because I'm still setting everything up. But I could just imagine at some point maybe sending Damon Dog a complimentary Happy Truckerversary t-shirt. A Happy Trucker John Truckerversary t-shirt. Wouldn't that be cool? With this cool logo on it? Just for instance. I could just see that happening. The cognitively there 7A says, which state are you in? I am in the great state of Nevada. And that is Pacific time zone, in case you're wondering, because I think, are you the person from Germany? Yeah, you're from Germany. What are you, like 15 hours difference or some crazy thing? 12 hours or something? So yeah, I'm in Pacific time zone, but I am in Las Vegas. I'm on the outer rim, as I like to say, out here on Boulder Highway. This is behind me is a AI depiction which very closely resembles Boulder Highway. It very closely resembles exactly where I live right now, where I'm doing this show from. This background is see, there's the field over there. It's some mountains. There's let's see, can I get out of the way? There's Samstown. I've done live streams from that place. Remember, you guys remember when I did the live stream from Samstown, but then the signal kept dropping because it's kind of hard to do live streams in casinos and stuff. But just wondering if anyone remembers that. Do you guys remember my live streams? I want you to watch them and remember them forever. Never ever forget them. Anyhow, thanks for everyone for watching. You guys are really awesome. Right now we've got 80 watching and 79 thumbs ups. That means we're just one thumb up away from being like really good Democrats and being at what I call a balanced budget. One more thumb up and we will be look at there. Someone just hit it. We're at 80, but someone left. So that made us really good Democrats because now we're at a surplus. DPD says, TJ, if it's 11 a.m. in Vegas, it would be 8 p.m. in Germany. So it's only 9 hours difference? I was thinking it was more than that. But okay, so it's only 9 hours? I mean, that's a lot, but not as much as I thought. Are you sure it's only 9 hours? Anyhow, so yeah, if you're in Germany, you're going to be, if you want to watch, it'd be like an evening time for you, I guess, apparently. All right, skipping down, needle dropping, because I am, really super far behind. So it's probably frustrating. All of a sudden you hear me addressing something that you guys said 45 minutes ago, and you're like, I don't remember that, because that's what I do. Damon Dog, yeah, here it is. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Yeah. I remember that one. Oh yeah, I remember that nugget, that old chestnut. Skipping down a little bit here, and Jolie says, I saw that interview. I'm YouTubing. Fetterman is an idiot. He's an idiot. I really hope that, Pennsylvania will do better. I applaud Pennsylvania for not letting Dr. Oz in. I do applaud you for that. Let's not forget that. Pennsylvania, I think, deserves credit for not letting Dr. Oz, because as awful and horrible and idiotic as John Fetterman is, having Dr. Oz in there, I think would be probably infinitely worse. So I'm going to give Pennsylvania credit for that. Now, Pennsylvania, your next job is to get rid of Fetterman and get somebody better in there. We need an upgrade. And I think he will be, I guess, what is he up in 2028? So we got a couple years to try to get a good candidate for the Fetterman seat. You guys can do it, man. I got faith in you. You said no to Dr. Oz. You said, fuck you. We're not going to have this fucking maggot lick spittle in here. So we voted for this guy, this other guy. He's a Democrat who at the time we just thought he was a stroke survivor. And so he was a little bit off, but he's in therapy and he's going to get better. Little did we know. But again, he's still a billion times better than Dr. Oz. So just remember that. If that gives you any comfort, it gives me some comfort. Whenever I see Fetterman, I'm like, oh, fuck this guy. Fuck this fucking guy. Then I just think about, what if we had Dr. Oz in there instead? And I'm like, oof, yeah. Much rather have Fetterman. Gordon Briggs says, I think Jesus, is what I'm trying to say, still saves a lot of drug addicts today. Guy never stops working. Yeah. Jesus, hardest working savior in the business. Yeah, I think you're right on that one. Okay, skipping down, needle dropping. I'm needle dropping. Belfast Bob says, I found my own willpower works better than believing in a sky daddy. Well, come on, man. For $20 a month, you get a nice little place in heaven for eternity. What have you got to lose? Luck Dragon Swin says, I'm YouTubing. If you read the comments section, I probably left 3 or 4 comments just yelling at Jon Stewart for not asking the right questions. For instance, can you define socialism for me? Oh, I guess you're talking about Jon Stewart interviewing Fetterman, I guess. Again, better than Dr. Oz. 2028's coming up. Let's get someone in there better. That's basically it. All right, scrolling down and needle dropping. Oleum says Pauly Shore's evil twin is Stephen Miller. I don't really get that. I don't think they look alike at all, do they? And I don't think does Pauly Shore have shared the same type of politics. I don't know Pauly Shore's politics. I just know he was like kind of funny back in the 80s. I said kind of funny. So don't come at me and go, he sucks. I said he's kind of funny. I didn't say he was hilarious. All right, I'm skipping down and needle dropping. DPD says Hooker crying Swaggart died on July 1st, 2025. So just barely over a year ago. Give me a break. I can't remember everything. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, he's no longer with us. Belfast Bob says, sorry, ATM, but hopefully that 75% sees the light. Jolie says, this is weird. Google AI says Jim Baker is still alive, but Wikipedia says he died yesterday. I don't see anything else online saying he died. Well, if he did just die yesterday, what a coincidence that we're talking about him, because I think I have mentioned Jim Baker and his pancake batter cells probably before, but I mean, it's been ages and ages and ages since we've talked about Jim Baker, and what a coincidence if he did die yesterday. Sometimes AI takes a little while to update. I've been using AI. I've been using ChatGPT for certain things, and I've been discovering that it is really stupid. That you have to. It really ChatGPT is really a kiss ass. It will kiss your ass, and so sometimes you got to kick it in the ass and just say, hey, don't sugarcoat this. What you just said was a stupid. Sometimes you got to call it out because it will give you stupid ideas, and you got to go, no, we're not doing that. That's stupid. And then it'll go, oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. That was a stupid idea. And then you have to, whenever you leave, and let's say you go away for a couple of days, and then you go back into it, and you want to restart where you left off. The stupid ChatGPT will think that it was like that it's only been like 1 second, but it might be 3 days since you last were on it. And then then I've learned that every time I go back and check in, I have to go, okay, it's 3 days later. It's now Saturday. It's 11:17 p.m. And then the thing will go, oh yeah, thanks for the time jump or whatever, So ChatGPT is pretty stupid, and it's very much a kiss ass. Anyhow, skipping down, needle dropping a little bit here. Elam says Jim Baker's still alive as of August 8th, 2026. He is 86 years old. Wow. Recent reporting for 2026 still describes him as active in his ministry and fundraising, and there is no credible report of his death. Thank goodness, because we need guys like him. DPD says it's also important to note Cracker Barrel washed up Jack O'Lantern. James Carville took a shitload of money from Palantir, I think, while he's changing political parties by bitch. Yeah, fuck that fucking piece of shit. Fuck that asshole. All right, scrolling down and needle dropping. Gordon Briggs, and if you act now, you'll receive this lovely set of 4 steak knives. West Webb, if you had a camel, you needed to go through one of the taller gates. The eye of a needle. That's not a gate. Unless the gate is the size of this big. That's it. Don't mess with the Bible, man. Don't change it. All right, skipping down. IB YouTubing says, and churches qualify for tax exempt status. Michelle, diehard Democrats here too. Look, Dragon Swin says, fun fact, you can only get excommunicated from the Catholic Church, not from the Democratic Party or any party for that matter. You can, however, be canceled. You can be excommunicated from the Mormon Church. So there. It's not just the Catholics. Skipping down and needle dropping. Look, Dragon says Belfast. Oh, talking about Belfast Bob. I guess it's a response to Belfast Bob. So I'm mid-thread. So let's just see what happens here. Look, Dragon Swin says Belfast Bob. Nobody in Maine is buying the fact that Susan Collins voted no for Todd Blanche. They are absolutely disgusted with Susan Collins. Yeah, that was just a ploy because they talk. It's not like they don't talk, the other Republicans in the Senate. She knew that they were going to have the votes to still pass it. So she got permission because they know she's running a very contested, heated election to keep her seat in the Senate. She's going against Troy Jackson, who I believe is leading in the polls right now. Not that polls mean everything, but it does give us a snapshot or an idea that this is a very tight, very close race. She's not running away with it by any stretch of the imagination. So she needs something to try to look good for the Maine voters because the Maine voters are leaning left right now. And they certainly, probably, most of them don't want Todd Blanche as the AG. So she got permission to vote no. That's all it is. Because they knew they had the votes. If that was a deciding vote, then it might be a whole different thing. But she got permission to vote no so that she might look good in the eyes of some of the Maine voters. Whether that little ploy works or not, I don't know. I hope not. I hope it doesn't work. Let me go ahead and skip down and needle drop. DPD says, TJ, I have a Hennessy recipe for you. I always love your recipes. I was just thinking of taking a few shots straight, or at least one. I got shot glasses in the cupboard, and to try it out that way. And then I was thinking about mixing it with just Coke or Pepsi or something. But hey, I'm all ears. We could try many different drinks on that great and glorious day when Trucker John gets to 5K Hennessy Day. 5K Hennessy Day. I need a drum set so I can just do my own live drum stings. Hey, I have not hit the Hennessy. Anyhow, DBD spicy chicken sweet Hennessy chicken wings. Oh, that kind of recipe. I thought you meant like a mixed drink recipe. Well, maybe while we're doing the show, I could. I don't know. Bake me up some wings or something. Put some Hennessy on there. I don't know. Belfast Bob says Malcolm X disagreed with that. A white liberal could be worse, or is that racist? Please explain your country's logic. Malcolm X is from the 60s. It was a very, very turbulent time. Not to say that we don't still have turbulent times now. Just look at January 6th. Look at ICE in the streets murdering people. We still have turbulent Iran war, all this kind of shit. There are some parallels to the 60s that are going on now, I think. But I'm not going to begrudge Malcolm X, what he said, coming out of the very, very racist times of the 50s and the 60s, and fighting for equal rights and civil rights, and seeing the injustice, the racial injustice going on a daily basis. I can only imagine. I have no idea what it was like to be in his shoes, live in his life. So it's a whole different perspective. And I probably need to do more research on it. I probably need to read some books on Malcolm X, which I never have. I've only seen the movie, the Denzel Washington movie, and some probably, I think, some short like docs and stuff. But perhaps what he saw white liberals in the 1960s, I was a little boy, so I don't even know exactly what he's talking about. But it's just know this: it was the 60s were a really, really turbulent, violent time, like they are today, like ICE in the street murdering people. I mean, we had cops in the streets murdering black people in the 60s, and all through time. I mean, that's what BLM was all about. It's like so I don't mean to suggest that, it stopped in the 60s. As soon as Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act into law, that this stuff stopped, cold. It didn't. We have a history of racism in this country. We're built on slavery. And ever since the Emancipation Proclamation, and the South being basically let off the hook for trying to overthrow this country just so they could keep slaves, and then the 100+ years that followed the Civil War, just never giving up the hope that the South would rise again. So this stuff hasn't really gone away. It kind of lay dormant for a while until Obama got elected. That brought a lot of these racists out from under their rocks that they were hiding under, because they were coming out on the CB radio when I was driving a truck saying that they're going to kill that N-word. They were coming out. They're going to hang that N-word. Because that's what these white racist so-called Christians is what they do. So that's the logic. I know it's crazy logic. Skipping down and needle dropping. The cognitively there, 78, John Betterman. Yeah, he's better than Oz, but that's about it. Gordon Briggs, Dr. Oz, and RFK Jr. make, well, I'm not sure. They make a big pile of shit. Big O, he votes with Dems 90% of the time. Betterman, and it might even be higher than that, but probably at least 90% of the time. And if Oz was the Republican that held that seat, it would probably be 0 or very close to 0%. So there's that. Let's see. I am going to scroll down and I'm going to needle drop. DPD says, Jesus Christ, you can't eat the lettuce. The eggs, the jalapenos, the chicken, what's left? Every day it's something else we can't consume. Yeah, and like we've said, Trump is just a walking, breathing, fucking pandemic. That's what Donald Trump is. We don't need COVID. Who needs COVID when you got Donald Trump? You know? Needle dropping. I'm scrolling down. We're over 2 hours. I need to needle drop here before everything dies. Battery wise, I think we're looking okay. Wes Webb says people who I needle drop. I scrolled down needle drop. Wes Webb says people who entered were taxed by what they brought in. If you brought in a camel, you were probably trying to sell it. Yeah, because you couldn't get in with it, so you had to sell it. Okay, skipping down, needle dropping. Blood Dragon says, I have to go. My landlord is trying to blame me for smoking on my balcony when I absolutely do not. I need to clarify whether he is talking about weed or cigarettes. Have a nice weekend. Okay. Well, I hope you get that worked out. That sounds kind of fucked up. So I think I've caught up. I've scrolled pretty far. It looks like I'm pretty much down in the bottom here. The chat. Anamore says, DBD, thanks for the info on checking our water. I build my water and filter my water, but somehow I don't know if it's enough. Gordon Briggs says, you are right. You are suckered into hate. Wes Webb says, don't blame me if you can't be content. A lot of these are mid-thread type of stuff. Gordon Briggs says, who made money from it? I'm not sure. See, I'm mid-thread. I skipped down. I don't know what that is in reference to. Lug Dragon says, I don't give a fuck. Lug Dragon is still here, apparently. That's good news. Wes Webb says, bad Christians gotta hate to love them. Belfast Bob says, thank you, TJ. Needed clarification on that. I don't know if I clarified it or not, but I tried, and I don't have a reading list. I need to have a reading list of things I should read, and I am interested in reading about Malcolm X. I've seen the movie, the Spike Lee movie, starring Denzel Washington. And of course I remember, well, when I was a kid, I don't really remember anything about Malcolm X. He was assassinated around the same time as MLK. I think a few years before, but he was assassinated. I'm trying to open this stupid thing. But it's kind of funny. I have rather vivid memories of, I was only 3 when JFK was assassinated. But like I've said before, that JFK assassination, it permeated through the entire 60s into the 70s. It was the ghost of JFK just was hovering over us. It was, I almost feel like I remembered the JFK assassination, but even though I was only 3 and I have no actual memory of it, but of that day. But I remember watching Zapruder film coverage. I remember on a vacation we went to, is it Dealey Plaza, and where the assassination happened. We actually went there. I remember taking it when I was older. When I was like, I think 12 or something. We were in Texas, and we took the tour of the bookstore depository where Lee Harvey Oswald fired the gun that supposedly killed Kennedy. We saw the grassy knoll. We saw Dealey Plaza. We saw the whole thing. So so I know that, and I vividly remember the night RFK was assassinated. I remember watching TV in Big Bear, California. I was alone. My parents left. They would leave me alone because I was such a good boy. It was bowling night for my folks, and they were in a league, and they went and they were bowling, and I was home alone at like 8 years old, and was watching TV, and all of a sudden they broke in about the RFK being shot. Not the RFK, but I was going to say the RFK assassination, but about being RFK being shot. And I was seeing all this footage. I remember seeing Rosie Greer was one of the people that was there because I knew the Rams, and Rosie Greer was a Ram. And all that. And I don't think I spelled Malcolm right. I'm going to make a reading list of things I should read about. Anyhow, and I remember when MLK was assassinated. I remember that very vividly, hearing that news of that coming across the news and everything. And seeing the Memphis, the hotel, and that famous picture of them pointing, and Jesse Jackson was there or whatever. But I don't remember hearing anything about Malcolm X in real time. I don't remember anything about that assassination. For some reason, that didn't hit the news like RFK and MLK did, or certainly JFK. It's kind of weird. It wasn't until years later I remember people talking about Malcolm X, like when I was a little older, like in junior high or high school, and I'm like, and I think people would wear Malcolm X T-shirts or whatever. Like, who's Malcolm X? They're like, he was a black activist or civil rights activist, and he was murdered and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's really all I knew about Malcolm X until the 90s when Spike Lee made the fucking movie. So I need to brush up on that. Yeah, Damon Dog says I never heard of Malcolm X until I got to college. Then I got indoctrinated as liberal left scum. DPD says I think MLK summed it up best when it comes to white moderates, because their presence has not changed. They urge people of color to wait for a more convenient time to create change. We must be patient. So who is saying that? I mean, maybe in the 60s, but who's saying that now? Who is saying that within recent history? Who is a white moderate? I'm just curious. Like, who is saying that? James Carville, maybe? I don't know. Who's saying to wait for a more convenient time? I think people on the left are certainly. I don't know. I guess those wouldn't be moderates. I don't know. What are these moderates? Like I said at the very beginning of the show, if you're a moderate or a centrist or whatever, someone who was it that said that they were a moderate or something? Like, what does that even mean? To me, that means like you're like a nothing. You have no opinion. Damon Dog, I was taught whitewash history. Smokey Mirror says, I was born in 1968. MLK, RFK both assassinated that year. Yep. Note says, Malcolm was too radical in quotations then. Look at us now. Well, Malcolm and Martin, they did have different approaches, right? Malcolm was about nonviolent protest, peaceful protest, civil disobedience. That was Martin Luther King Jr.'s his main thing, right? Malcolm X, on the other hand, was by any means necessary. He was the by any means necessary guy, and that's probably why he got assassinated. I think he was assassinated by some black dudes that it was made to look like they were some rival, like Farrakhan type dudes or whatever. Nation of Islam, I think they were trying to say it was, but I think it was, people are saying that it was set up by FBI or whatever, which I wouldn't doubt. So yeah, Gordon Brett says it's called censorship. Trucklers. I don't know what the censorship was, but so you had these two, and neither one apparently was good, according to, at least in the eyes of J. Edgar Hoover or even others in the government, in the White House. Maybe I don't know. Not saying that. Well, maybe Nixon. Yeah, Nixon wasn't president yet. But that doesn't stop them from doing things like Iran-Contra when Reagan wasn't president yet. But yeah, so you had sort of two very prominent black civil rights leaders, but who had very different approaches to it. MLK Jr. was a pastor. He was about civil disobedience, peacefully protesting. Malcolm X was a little more, I guess, say radical or whatever, and he was like he was done with that, and he was like, "Hey, we need to do this by any means necessary. We need to get our rights. We need to stop getting lynched by these fucking white supremacists." So he was at the by any means necessary stage of his life or of his philosophy, and but they both had the same result. They both had violent ends of their lives by guns. Probably somehow, I know this sounds very conspiratorial, but probably somehow, ultimately, from the same source. James Earl Ray shot MLK Jr. Who knows? Manchurian Candidate, dupe, whatever, who knows? I don't know. These the guys who got Malcolm X, I think they were I thought they were described as being like Nation of Islam or I don't know. Wasn't Malcolm X Nation of Islam? Whatever it was, some sort of infighting maybe with that was supposedly it. I think, I don't know. I need to read. That's why I got on my reading list. I need to read. I'm going to read up on it. DPD says the question then becomes, how much fucking longer must we wait? The white moderates have adopted the attitude of hush, be quiet, don't stir up much trouble. I still don't know who the white moderates are. At least not. I mean, who's saying that? Who's saying to hush, be quiet, don't stir up much trouble? I mean, right wingers might say that, but those aren't moderates, so I don't know. Maggot might say that. They might say, well, here's what MAGA says. We're not racist. I'm not a racist. How dare you call me a racist? I'm not a racist. So they just deny it. They just deny what they are. I don't know who these white moderates are that are telling black people to hush up and not to try to advocate for equal rights or whatever. I don't know. Or civil rights. I just don't know who they are. Damon Dog is signed for some good trouble. John Lewis is famous for that. DPD says, TJ, they are still doing it. They want us to be seen, not heard. But who? This is very general. This is very vague. It's a very vague thing. I don't know who. Yeah, maybe the right wingers are saying that, but I'm not. I don't think those are the white moderates, are they? I'm sure MAGA and even the Republican Party as a whole would love for nothing more than for black people to just shut up and know their place, you know. And I don't share that view. I'm just speaking like from their POV. Right wingers might say that. I don't know who these white moderates are that you're talking about, though. So Big Hook says moderates funded by corporations and billionaires do not want to pay for everyone to have what the rest of civilized world has had for 50 years already. And that's about social safety nets. I thought we were talking about civil rights, maybe. Yeah, the corporations, they don't want things like Medicare for all because the big insurance companies are part of the big corporations that are buying and paying off and owning members of Congress. But that's kind of not what we were talking about, is it? Maybe it's all related. I guess it's all related. I don't know. Note, I'm lighting a candle and sending positive energy into the universe. Thank you, Note. We need all the positive energy we can get. So thank you so much. Skipping down because now I'm behind again, and I got to make sure my battery's not dead. It looks like so far. Oh, we're getting close. I'm going to have to end pretty soon. We're getting close to the battery. We're at 25%, and once it gets to around 20 or so percent, it goes fast. So, Big Hook 142. I'm about 4 minutes behind now. Thanks, Big Hook. Damon Dog, white moderates equal corporate Dems. Okay. That's a pretty big group, corporate Dems. There's a lot of corporate Dems. Belfast Bob wasn't MLK Republican. I believe he was in the 1960s. Now, I've always maintained that if MLK was alive today, and not like, senile, because he would be like 100, but you know what I mean. Let's say if he was the Martin Luther King, the 30 or 40-year-old Martin Luther King today, or even a 80-year-old one, you know what I mean. I don't believe he would be a Republican. Let's just put it that way. Whether or not he would be a Democrat, I don't know. He probably would be, right? I think it's safe not to assume, but I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that he might be a Democrat. But I certainly don't think he would be a Republican, in certainly since probably at least Reagan. If he had lived, if Martin Luther King had been alive all these years, I think he probably would have switched parties during Jimmy Carter's administration and became a Democrat and would have worked with Jimmy Carter on some great civil rights and humanitarian issues. Can you imagine that team? What a great team up that would have been, Jimmy Carter and MLK Jr. Anyhow. By the way, on my Netflix list is a show that I never watched and I always wanted to. It's about, I think it's just called 11/22/63. Is it that? That's the date that I believe that JFK was assassinated. And there's a show that's probably kind of old, like 15 years or so. It's been on my list. It's on my list, and it's like, what would happen if JFK had not been assassinated? I think that's what the show's about. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. I've never seen it. It's on my list. I want to watch that because that's one of the things that makes my head explode. When I always go back and I think about what if JFK hadn't been assassinated and how different things may have been, all the way down with not having Nixon, not having, would we not have had Nixon later on? Would we not have had Reagan? Would we not have had Bush W? Would we not have had Trump if just that one thing had happened where JFK had not been assassinated. So it kind of makes my head explode. So that's on my list. I want to see that. I don't know if it deals with any of that stuff I just mentioned, because I think it was made actually before Trump was even president, for one thing. But be interesting to see what that show comes about. Speaking of Netflix lists, I just finished watching The Burrows, which is an interesting show. If you guys are interested in my watching my watch history, apparently though, it was canceled almost immediately after it was released, so there'll be no season 2. And I didn't realize that until I started watching it. I might not have watched it if I had known that, but anyhow, they ended it pretty well, and so it wasn't really anything left open. And then see, last night, I've been watching season 4 of Dark Winds. If anyone watches Dark Winds, that's a good show about tribal police and living on the res, and it's like a little crime drama things, and that's been good. I watched like 3 episodes of that last night. I've been watching. I rewatched season 1 of Daryl Dixon, and I forgot how much I really liked that show. Because for a while, I was kind of getting burnt out on all the Walking Dead spinoffs, and I was getting really burnt out. So I went back because and I didn't even know this. I think there's a new season of Daryl Dixon coming out. I thought they were done with it. Apparently, there's like season 5 coming out, and I think there's going to be a season 6. So they're not done with Daryl Dixon. So I went back and watched season 1 of Daryl Dixon, and I forgot really how great that show is. If you like Walking Dead, and if you like the Daryl, I said Carol, which is funny because Daryl and Carol, but the Daryl character and Norman Reedus, his job on that, I think it's just great. I really enjoyed it. So, and usually I don't watch things twice, but I watched the whole season 1 over again just over these last couple of weeks, and I really enjoyed it because I hadn't watched it since it came out, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, or longer. So so I'm watching that, Daryl Dixon, The Burrows, Dark Winds, and I watched Formula One only because Formula One is here in Vegas now. So I've been watching a few seasons of Formula One just to sort of not emaciate, emerge. I don't know, myself into the Formula One kind of world, because we have Formula One here, and that's why. All right, DPD says, TJ, I'll put it like this. When George Floyd was murdered, the best Democrats could do was bend the knee and wear the Kwanzaa colors. How about pushing for legislation? I think they did. You got to have the numbers, as we know. You got to have numbers. That's why you got to vote for Democrats and stop voting for Republicans, because the Republicans have the numbers. They've got the majorities. DPD says, actually, MLK wasn't registered as a Democrat or Republican. He had no political affiliation. I've always heard, and that this is what happens when you just listen to rumors and you don't, or you get unsubstantiated things. I'd always heard that he was a registered Republican. Gordon Briggs, butterfly effect. Yeah, the butterfly effect. I can't talk now. It must be time for me to quit talking because I can no longer speak. We're down to 20% battery, by the way, so time for me to probably call it. Guys, you guys are awesome. I think we had a great discussion today. Thanks for everyone who came. We still got 72 watching, which is really good. Thank you for House Sparks, for sending your folks over, the Sparklers. Thank you, Sparklers, who came in and who have stayed the whole 2 hours and 44 minutes. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to be back on Tuesday. I think we're going to switch the time to 11. Programming note to Jolie and Aaron. I think I'm going to change. I'm going to push it out to 11 a.m. So that way it's just across the board, 11 a.m. on all 3 days. And so we're going to do that. I'll see you guys Tuesday, then 11 a.m. Pacific time. Damon Dog says, that's what I'm doing, TJ. Daryl is awesome. I started rewatching from the beginning too. He just landed in France. Yeah, it's a great. Now I've only seen I think that's the only season I've watched. I don't think I ever got into season 2. So I'm gonna watch all the seasons, but I don't know. So I don't know if the other seasons are as good, but season 1 was excellent. DPD, I miss our Walking Dead parties. You guys had those, yeah. Yeah, Walking Dead was like a phenomenon. Break Like the Wind. That's kind of funny. Could be a mashup between Breaking Bad and Walking Dead, I guess. And Dark Winds, maybe. David Dogg and Negan. The Negan spinoff. I haven't seen the Negan spinoff, and or like with what's her face. I like her. I like Negan. I like him. I think I may have seen an episode or 2 of it. I would like to catch up on that too. It's probably on my list. Jolie says, thanks, John. Yeah, for the programming note there, I guess. Jolie says, anyone needs a break from politics, come watch. Oh, live roller derby. Look at there. Jolie's got the live roller derby. Are you doing that right now? I guess it's live right now. I guess Jolie might be watching her daughters play roller derby. Go kick some ass. Go kick a little ass. Take names and kick ass, girls. But yeah, check out the roller derby over there. Emma Note says, if you're interested in brushing up on history, please check Ken Burns films. I've seen the Civil War one, and yeah, and Vietnam. I think some of the Vietnam one, very, very good. Yeah, he's renowned. He's renowned. Yeah. You're right, Big Hook. You're right. But anyhow, guys, just want to say a quick thank you guys so much. We made the unofficial invisible goal. We've surpassed 5. So thank you guys so much of the super chats. Let me just say a quick thank you to David Weiss from Denver. Yippee! $2 super chat. West Webb, $77.70 super chat. Yippee to West Webb. Thank you so much. Damon Dog, the big dog, $4.99. Yippee! David Weiss from Denver, another one, $6.66. Yeah. Thank you for that super chat. DPD's $20. Yippee to DPD. And we had Damon Dog celebrating his 20-month truckerversary. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that was 5. I thought we went over 1, 2, 3, 4. So we hit the goal right on the number, right on the head, 5. So thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate you for those super chats. Keep the show going and growing. Like I said, I'm looking forward to getting the merch store going and getting some good stuff. I hope you guys will like the designs. We're going to go to maybe that. I never did get any feedback if you guys like those or not. So they're just going to be stuck with it, I guess. And we'll have some good stuff, and not only for purchase, but I'm going to try to do some giveaways and things of this nature. So thank you guys so much. If you're here and you haven't hit the subscribe button, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it if you would do that. And hey, did someone call? Was Big Hook calling for the tough cookie? Here I am, buddy. You wanted it. You got it. It's tough cookie time. Hey, all you motherfuckers out there, make sure you vote, register to vote. And then I want you all to go and check out the link that Jolie put in there and check out that roller derby. You know, back in the day, old tough cookie here, I was a roller derby. I was a jammer. That's right. I was one of them jammers. I knew I was good at jamming. So yeah, go check out the old roller derby there. And anyhow, don't give me no shit. I'm in no mood. I'm out. Do 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 do. Well, I was waiting for Paul. I'm waiting for Paul, the purple beard guy, to get in here. I don't know what's taking him so long. Maybe Paul doesn't want to be in today. Maybe Paul just isn't feeling it. Perhaps no Paul today. I think Paul, the purple beard guy, might be feeling, oh, here I am. Sorry, I was indisposed. So, if you know what I mean. So sorry. I'm sorry it took me so long to get here, but I'm here now. Everyone, rest assured, I'm okay. I'm okay. And I just want to wish everyone a happy Saturday. Have a good rest of your weekend, and hang in there, folks. Hang in there. Or else we'll all hang separately, or whatever that saying is. You know, let's not do that. Let's hang together. Not that. I think I'm butchering that saying. But anyhow, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. We'll see you on Tuesday. Make sure, I want to reiterate about voting. Make sure you guys vote and do everything you can. We're just, I think, 90 days or something away. So it's almost here, folks. Make sure you're registered. You're good to go. Let's vote out these Republicans, and let's get these Democratic majorities so that we can put at least some sort of stop to this madness. It's absolute madness what's going on with this Trump administration. So let's make sure we can vote. And anyhow, guys, thanks everyone for being here. Thank you so much. Do appreciate you. You guys are awesome. And I just wanted to say hi, and I wanted to just thank you guys for being here. That's about it. All right. Thank you so much, Paul, the purple beard guy, and thank you, Tough Cookie, and everything else before everything dies. Okay, let's get words of wisdom in real quick before the battery dies. We're down to 15% on the phone. I have no idea what we are on the microphone. So, all right, guys, you ready? Got your pen and paper? Write this down. Okay, so for today's words of wisdom are, first words of wisdom are, come back on Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the YouTube channel. We'll see you Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shrugs, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. In my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free.
So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be yours
good life. Everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot. You're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
I don't mourn when evil men die. I don't feel sad, and I don't cry. Sometimes I wonder why it takes so long for evil men to die. But I want you to know that when you go, you won't be missed. And the ground where you'll lay, we're all gonna take a big giant piss. And for your end, we all anticipate, without any love and too exhausted to hate. Your long-lasting legacy will be one of disgrace and shame. Throughout the annals of history, your name will shrink, you'll lose your fame. And as you lay there drawing in your final breath, just know that you made us happiest in death. You will not be thought of kindly, and you won't be missed. And like I said before, on the ground you'll lay, I'm gonna take a big old piss.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come.